calls up 300,000 reservists to join the fight. Also, seeming to hint he could use his nuclear arsenal to protect Russia. President Biden saying the world's blood should run cold over this invasion of Ukraine. But Vladimir Putin shows signs of expanding the conflict.
Northern Illinois professor Dr. Abu Ba joins us now to discuss what is a very serious situation. And we appreciate your time this morning. What, if anything, could come out of today's speech by President Biden at the United Nations?
Well, thank you very much. So speeches at the United Nations really places where to draw international sentiments. But unfortunately, it is really not the place where decisions are made. Most international decisions are really made outside of the United Nations in major capitals of major powers. And the United Nations really is just a place where those decisions are rubber stamped or, kind of like giving a global legitimacy. So I think it is important in terms of drumming sentiments, but the most critical thing is really the negotiations that will happen outside of the United Nations.
Almost 1,000 people were arrested all across Russia, of course, in protest against the war. Does public opinion hold any sway over Vladimir Putin?
So potentially, this can lead to cracks. But one of the things that we know about authoritarian leaders is that really public opinion do not really have too much sway on them. What really matters most to them is the people around them and the military. So in as much as this is significant development, the Russian people are showing some kind of resentment against the war. I think much really will depend upon what happens within the inner circles of Putin and the administration and the military. And the other thing also to note is that authoritarian regimes, they are pretty skilled in dealing with demonstrations. They have, they do have a lot of, skill sets and abilities to really suppress oppression, to suppress protests. So. I hope it becomes a way to show a crack, but one has to be cautious a little bit.
So referendums, as I understand it, start this week in Russian-controlled regions in eastern and southern Ukraine on becoming parts of Russia. How could that change the dynamics that we're dealing with here?
So that is really a very big issue. I think we have to go back to Ukraine, the Crimea. Because in a way, what happens in Crimea, it's become like a playbook. First, you do have some kind of like, a referendum to provide some kind of like, in quotes, legal pathway to annexation. And I think we see the same thing kind of repeat here. Now, of course, this is in the context of ratcheting up things. But I think the real danger here is that once you provide that kind of like legal pathway, again, within the Russian context, it allows the Russian government to not to mobilize people, but also, in principle, to to claim that that region falls within its nuclear policy, which it already has. So I think it is a development that is really should be taken very, very seriously. I think the playbook that we saw in Crimea seems to be unfolding again right now.
Yeah, Professor, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Thank you for your insight on this as well. And it's hard to believe this war is nearing the 7-month mark. Again, appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you very much.
It's about 8:20 right now. Let's go over to Braisha to see how your morning commute is shaping up. Yeah.